Hi everyone, mic on. Boy has Pocket Gamer come a long way, I want to say. Earlier this year, that's my kids, earlier this year in March, I think it was, I sang happy birthday to the crew and to the site at GDC. So it's been 10 years now, and it feels a bit like we've grown up together, and it feels like the industry has actually grown up together as well. So congratulations again for the amazing history that you're making. Oh yeah, first, that's the impressive intro slide. This is almost a 3 gigabyte PowerPoint deck. I've never done that before, so let's hope that it actually keeps running throughout the show. But I'm going to talk about 3 topics. A quick check on global mobile games. Where are we heading? How is the industry looking at the moment? And then a short section on Meanwhile in Finland, and then the 411 on Rovio. I'm going to try to cram in as many statistics, as many numbers in the presentation as possible to make myself look really smart along the way. So let's kick this off with global mobile games. Mobile games is growing, and it's growing at a staggering rate compared to the rest of the industry. If you look at this, this is the first year, by the way, this is the first year that mobile is as a format the biggest form of gaming entertainment. It overtook the #1 possession this year. And the CAGR in mobile games is far higher than rest of the industry over the next years. So I guess that's a long way of saying that you guys, all of us guys here, are in the right room right now. Clap to you, clap to everyone here. You made a good choice. Putting that in perspective, in relation to some other forms of media entertainment, we see that mobile games last year really holds its ground. There's no reason to believe actually that mobile games alone is going to be bigger than these other forms of entertainment that you might have heard of at one point or another. However, this is not the full picture. The full picture is, in fact, this picture. Worldwide games last year was 91 billion, and then it truly dwarfs basically all other forms of mainstream media entertainment. So it's quite amazing. Quite from humble beginnings of game industry overall, and especially humble beginnings of mobile games, we've come quite far. And we're going to go even further. So I guess the question that begs to be answered is, where is this growth coming from? What regions? Naturally, as I think a lot of us know, is that it is really driven by China at the moment. China is growing at quite an astonishing rate. It's also quite a different market culturally. Anybody who's launched games in China, us included, knows that it's a little bit different. You have to operate in a different way. Same thing applies to Japan and South Korea as well. You have 3 monstrously large markets in the East, all warranting their own approach. Interesting tidbit here is that if you look at the top 3, those command over 60%, and the top 5 markets command over 70% of the global mobile games industry. Not to say that there aren't important markets outside, but it's just interesting to look at that from that perspective. Let's look a little bit deeper at North America. As I think many of us know here already, Google Play has overtaken iOS in terms of pure scale. Downloads on Google Play is higher in the US than on iOS. However, revenue is a different story. Combining those two gives a metric called dollar per download. Not exactly the average LTR. This is a static metric. It takes no consideration on cohorts whatsoever. However, the bit of information here is that iOS is operating at a very high rate in the US, and it seems to be growing. Consumers are spending more and more money on mobile games. Diving a little bit deeper into the US and some trends. This is a genre picture. Which genres are the most popular in terms of revenue generation. I guess no surprises there that build and battle is the #1 genre in the US. The interesting bit here is also that as puzzle was stagnating a bit still a few quarters ago, it's growing quite substantially again. And the last one, but definitely not least, is modern RPG, the purple line, which is globally the largest genre, but has not been the largest genre in the West yet, is growing really quickly at the moment. This is, as the slide says, it's top 50 grossing over time. That is about, I need to look, that is about 64% of the US mobile games total revenue. So it is a good representation of where the market is. Another interesting tidbit is, of course, that when we do these numbers after Q3, you're all of a sudden we're going to see location-based games, or actually game, on the list, which took about 10% of the market here for some time. Quite remarkable, and I think it reminds us that these are interesting statistics. These are things that we should know. Yet, as an industry, it can take us by surprise at any given moment. The last bit on kind of the global picture is user acquisition costs. As we know, this is a booming industry. It's growing very quickly, and Fixu tends to do this cost per loyal user index. And usually they take only a snapshot in time. I've plotted all of them since the beginning of those studies over time, and we see quite a remarkable trend, and again a trend that we all know of. And I think this underlines the importance of free-to-play performance, cross-promotion, brand, and also channel relationships. So, meanwhile in Finland, as we all know, there's quite a lot of reindeer in Finland. In fact, there's 207,000 of them in Finland. That number has remained fairly constant over the 2000s, and I urge you to remember that. I'm building up a little bit of a story, and I'm trying to paint a rosy picture of Finland in order to convince you all to move to Finland at the end of the slides and hopefully join Rovio as a process. So I'm a little bit of a history of firsts in Finland. I'm going to try to do this fairly quickly, but there's quite a bit of info on this one. Now, as I think most of us know here, is that the mobile games industry was actually born in Finland, in Espoo, and this is the first mobile game. The software engineer Taneli Armanto placed it on the Nokia 6110 in 1997. 1998, but probably placed it in 97. Quite a remarkable thing that happened in the headquarters of Nokia at the time. Has anybody seen the movie Riot On? I urge everyone to see that. Riot Entertainment was the company. They were the first company to blow through 20 million euros in VC funding and not really make any reasonable business out of it. In fact, they also left over 3 million euros in debt after that. Can't blame them for trying, and the technology wasn't really there. They made SMS and WAP games, but they made them under really large, phenomenal media brands globally. Fast forward, Sumea. I think Sumea was the first of two Java game developers who really focused on quality. Quality kind of came first with Sumea and who I'm going to talk next about. Sumea was also the first company behind the minds of Ilkka Paananen and his buddies. It was quite a remarkable story in itself. Fast forward, Mr. Good Living. Mr. Good Living was in fact not founded in 2002, but 2002 was the year that it had Java games commercially distributed in Europe. It was the first developer to have Java games distributed on mobile phones in Europe. Then Rovio, 2003, was to become the company that was kind of the first of many things, but we'll return to that in a minute. Summer Games, 2004. In fact, this game was first named Athens 2004, and it had no license to be named Athens 2004. The Olympic Games was in Athens in 2004. So it became the first game to really upset the International Olympics Committee. I was there witnessing that event. Then a few years of tumbleweed. Actually, there was a lot of things happening, but we'll not focus on those now. N-Gage. Everyone remembers N-Gage, right? You remember the phone that you had to do this with? I can't really understand how that happened. But this is the platform. The N-Gage, the gaming platform, came out in 2008. It was a remarkable failure, to be honest. But it was the first to really try to make a gamer's platform on mobile. It did high-definition games on, well, I guess devices where you have no business doing high-definition games on. But it still tried, and it did push the boundaries for the whole Finnish mobile games industry. It taught us to make games with a really large budget. So that was a very valuable lesson that kind of took Finland to where it is today. Does anybody know that game? This is the 51st game of Rovio. It was the 51st game of Rovio. Do you know what the 52nd game of Rovio was? That was Angry Birds. Supercell. Supercell is also the first of many things, but I think what it became the first of this year is that it's the first decacorn of Europe. €10 billion, $10 billion startup. Remarkable. And then years of just phenomenal growth of the mobile games industry in Finland. Fast forward, Angry Birds, the movie, came out this year. This is the first blockbuster Hollywood movie based on a mobile game. And it actually is a good movie. I want to do this. Who has not seen the movie? Shame on you. You should see the movie. So, in a nutshell, this is Finland's mobile games history. I'm omitting a lot of detail, but there's a lot of things that have happened in this industry that we can feel quite happy about. So remember that when I try to convince you to come and move to Finland. Fun with numbers. A statistic that really doesn't mean anything, but this is the number of games made per million people. Finland tops that chart. I've also plotted percentage of Finnish population working in games. It's rising. And this year, it's 2,700 people. And it was 600 in 2004. Revenue per capita, I believe this is the highest in the world. I haven't run all the numbers of every country in the world, and if there is a good game or a well-performing game studio in Liechtenstein or somewhere like that, I might be wrong, but I think this is the highest in the world. The CAGR over this time is quite remarkable as well. The Finnish games industry has grown really, really much. But relating that to Reindeer is also interesting, so I did that. This is the Finnish games revenue per reindeer, and here you see a true hockey stick. So this is the far more interesting picture. The problematic part of this is actually that I think we might not be the highest in the world on this because we have so many reindeer. There's 207,000 of them. With this, I want to hand over to our friends at the Conan O'Brien Show and sing a song about Finland.
As a tribute, the Basic Cable Band has composed a rocking version of the ringtone with lyrics. Finland, this is for you.
1, 2. Hello, Finland. Finland's awesome. Finland rocks my soul. You drink vodka like it's water, and you fish in holes. You eat reindeer, dude, that's hardcore. Pass a Rudolph, please. You like hockey. You're a representative democracy ruled by 200 member. You the camel of parliament called the Air Deuce Kunta. And your ass is free.
Can't believe they did that. So, Rovio, just a few words about where we are at this moment. So I was, as I often do, I Google nonsense words, and I was Googling up the word cute the other day, and whoa, what do I find? I found this guy. Who is that? As the #1 image on Google image search. And I thought, well, I'll wander around and I'll try to find out what the hell is going on. And I found out that they're called hatchlings. And we're actually making some small plushies out of them. It turns out that they're the baby birds from the movie. The movie features some of these baby birds, and they're really adorable. They're cute. Google tells us that they're cute. And these are actually, you can't take pictures. I stole this image. I'm not supposed to show it to any of you, but I did, and I'm doing that anyway. And I stole something else that our U.S. movie crew has placed in the cinemas in the U.S. over the summer as kind of an extra for the movie. I'm going to show you also that video now. I'm really breaking all kinds of NDAs, but in any case, here we go. So that's hatchlings, and they're adorable. And we're really happy about how viral they've turned online and some of the content that we share. And who knows, maybe we one day make a game out of that hatchlings as well. They are adorable, and they're the baby Angry Birds. But because this is a gaming conference, I thought that I'd show some of our games as well. This is a collection of 5 of the latest user acquisition videos. We're increasing our investments in user acquisition pretty much every month at the moment, especially in 3 of our key games that are continuously improving their performance every month. And I want to show you some of the things that the UA team has been working on. The last two are still in soft launch, and hopefully we'll end up launching them, but that it all depends on how that goes, right? Few weeks ago we announced some good news about the overall Rovio performance, and just diving a bit deeper into how the games business is doing. It's doing quite well. Initially this year we had a modest target in terms of growth. I also stood on a stage not far from here in the other room in February, saying that our ambition is quite high in terms of growth, and it turns out our forecast for this year is even higher. So the year is going in a very positive way, and I'd now welcome all of you to join the fun. Finland has reindeer, but we have bacon. So and that's it. Happy to have shared some of the news from Rovio. Thank you.